I am at the end of round 2 and I have 2 stitches left here. So I'm going to skip this next stitch and place my last 2 half double crochet in this stitch here. Now this right here is not a stitch. This is a slip stitch from the previous round when we joined. So we'll skip this stitch and place 2 half double crochet in that next stitch. So there's 1 and 2, and we are going to slip stitch in the top of this marked stitch to join. Okay, so it should look like this so far. Let me flip it over so you can see the other side. Okay, so round 3, you're just repeating round 2. But I'm going to help you get started with round 3. So chain 1, skip the first stitch, which is this stitch right here at the base of the chain 1, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Just repeating that sequence all the way around. Let me place a stitch marker on my first stitch again. Keep forgetting to do that. Skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. So it should look like this. Look like this so far. Okay, I'm going to keep working, and all you are going to be doing is just repeating round 2 for rounds 3 to 22. So I will be back and show you how to make round 23. So I just finished round 22, and this is what it looks like. This is my cuff up here, and this will be folded over at the end. I think this looks really nice. This is my seam right here, and you can hardly see the seam. So for round 23, we are going to make the space right here for the heel. We will begin with the chain 1, and you will need 4 stitch markers for this round, and 5 if you're marking the first stitch of the round. So, all right, we will begin with a chain 1, and just like we've been doing, we're going to skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. We're going to do that a total of 6 times for 12 stitches. So skip the first stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch, skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Let me place my stitch marker in the first stitch. Skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. So I'm going to do this a total of 6 times for 12 stitches. So I've done 1, 2, 3. So I've done 8 stitches. Okay, So the first part of round 23 should look like this. So you should have made 12 stitches. Okay, we are now going to make the space for the heel. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Sorry. So we are going to make a chain 24, and we are going to place a stitch marker in the first chain and the last chain. So here's the first chain. Okay, so 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I believe that's 24, but I'm going to double check. Yep, 24. Okay, so I'm going to place another stitch marker in the last chain. Okay, you want to make sure that your chain doesn't get twisted up here. So we are now going to skip 24 stitches. Let me get this better here. We are going to place a stitch marker in the first skip stitch and then the last skip stitch. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 21, 22, 23, and 24. So I'm going to place a stitch marker in that 24th stitch. Okay, let me double check that. So there's my first skip stitch, 1, 24. Okay. I'm going to turn this a little bit. You want to make sure again that your chain does not get twisted when you make your half double crochet here. So this was our last skip stitch. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. Sorry. So this was our last skip stitch. We are going to skip the next stitch and place 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. There's 1, 2. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, we are going to skip the next stitch, place 2 half double crochet in the next stitch, and you're just going to repeat that sequence to the end of the round. So skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. I'm going to zoom back out just a little bit. Okay, I'm coming to the end of this round, so I'm going to skip the next stitch and place 2 half double crochet in the last stitch. And we are going to join to the top of our first stitch. All right, so let me show you what this will look like. This is actually going to be on the side. So our seam will be on the side. So it'll be like this. And this is where the heel is going to go. So the heel will be right in here. Okay, so leave those 4 stitch markers in place. So for round 24, begin with the chain 1. Sorry, my stitch markers keep hitting my table. You're going to skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. You're going to do that a total of 6 times, just like we did in the previous round. Then you're going to skip the next chain and place 2 half double crochet in the next chain, and you will repeat that all the way up the chain that we made for the heel. Yeah, you'll do it a total of 12 times because we did a chain 24. So when you skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. If you do that 12 times, that's 24 stitches. And then you will just skip the stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. You'll do that then to the end of the round. Okay, so skip first stitch. So 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. So we're going to do this a total of 6 times. Skip the next stitch. 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so we've got one more in that first sequence to do. So skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and we marked our first chain, which makes this easier to see which chain we're going to skip. So you're going to skip this first marked chain and place 2 half double crochet in the next chain. If I can get my hook in here. Okay, so 2 half double crochet in that next chain. We are going to do this a total of 12 times. So skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next chain. So I'm going to just keep going with this. Skip the next chain, 2 half double crochet in the next chain. Okay, so it should look like this so far. Okay, skip the next chain and 2 half double crochet in that last marked chain. And again, just leave that in place. Don't remove that stitch marker. Just kind of work around it. I'm going to move it to the bottom there. Okay. So now we are just going to skip the next stitch and place 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Let me get closer. So we're going to skip this stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. We're just going to repeat that all the way around or to the end. Skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. All right, I'm to the end, so I'm going to skip the next stitch and place 2 half double crochet in the last stitch. And we are going to join to the top of our first stitch, which I forgot to mark, but it's this stitch right here. Okay, so that is round 24. I'll show you what this should look like. Okay, again, this is my seam over here. So it should look like this so far. So for round 25, you will switch to a 4.25 millimeter hook, and we are just basically repeating row 2, but we're using a smaller hook. So for rounds 25 through 36, you will just be doing the same thing. And what we're making here, we're making this portion of the stocking. This is the toe down here, so we're working on this section right here. So we're just going to go right around. This is the space for my heel back here. We're just going to go right around here. So chain 1, skip the first stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Going to remember the stitch marker this time. Skip the next stitch, 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. Just going to do this all the way around, just like we have been doing for round 2. I am going to keep working, and I will be back when I get to the end of the round. All right, so I am coming to the end. So I'm going to skip my last, or next to the last stitch, and place 2 half double crochet in the last stitch. And slip stitch in that first stitch to join. All right, so it should look like this so far. So this will be where the heel goes. The life should be sideways like this. Okay, so you're just going to repeat that round for rounds 26 to 36. So I will keep working, and I will be back to show you how to make round 37. I just finished with row 36, and for row 37, you're just going to continue using your G hook, and you're going to place 1 half double crochet in each stitch around, and I just did that. So I'm to the end of the round here, and to prevent a seam from running across the foot of our stocking, we are going to alternate now where we place our first and last stitches. So after you slip stitch in the top of the first stitch, place a stitch marker in the slip stitch like that. So for round 38, you're going to begin with the chain 1. You're going to skip your first stitch and place a half double crochet in the next stitch and 1 in each stitch around. And then when you get to the end, your last half double crochet will be placed right here in the slip stitch, and then you just join to the top of your first stitch again. So for round 39, then you'll repeat round 37, where you just place a half double crochet in each stitch around, join, place a stitch marker in the slip stitch, and then round 40 you'll repeat round 38, and round 41 you'll repeat row 37 again. So I'm going to keep working on that, and I will be back to show you how to close the toe in round 42. I just finished with round 41, and I am ready to start to close the toe. So in round 42, you will be decreasing by 8 stitches, and you'll be decreasing by 8 stitches now in every round to the end here. And you can see here I really don't have any visible seam at all. So if you like this method of alternating where you place the first and last stitch, just keep using it. I'm going to keep using this method. If you don't like it and find it too confusing, you can always just place your first stitch in the first stitch and your last stitch in the last stitch and not mess with this. You will have more of a visible seam, but you can always just flip the stocking the other way when you hang it up so you don't see it. Okay, so for round 42, we will chain 1, and we will skip the first stitch, half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then we're going to do our first half double crochet decrease. So I'm going to skip the first stitch, place a half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, okay, so it should look like that. Now we are ready for our first half double crochet decrease. And to make a half double crochet decrease, we'll yarn over, insert our hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, sorry. You should have 5 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. Okay, so it should look like this. And be careful when you're making this stitch that you're not pulling too tightly on your yarn. It makes it harder to pull those 5 loops through. Okay, so then we are just going to place 1 half double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, and then we're going to do a half double crochet decrease again. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, and we are ready for our next half double crochet decrease. Yarn over, insert your hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. So you should have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 5 loops. Okay, so I am going to keep going. You're just going to keep repeating that all the way around. The half double crochet in the next 4 stitches, half double crochet decrease. So just repeat that sequence all the way around. And I will be back at the end of this round to show you how to make your last half double crochet decrease into this slip stitch. I have 2 stitches left at the end of round 42. So I'm going to insert my hook into this next stitch, yarn over, and I am going to insert my hook next into this slip stitch. So I'm going to remove the stitch marker, yarn over, pull through your work, and then yarn over, pull through all 5 loops. And I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my first stitch to join. Okay, so for round 43, it's very similar to round 42. You'll just make a half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, then a half double crochet decrease. So you'll do that all the way around. In round 44, you will make a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then half double crochet decrease. You'll repeat that all the way around. Round 45, half double crochet in the next stitch, then a half double crochet decrease. You will repeat that sequence all the way around, and then in round 46 we will just do a single crochet decrease all the way around. So I will be back to show you how to do that. So I am on the last round for closing the toe, woohoo. And in this round we are going to begin with the chain 1, and we're just going to single crochet decrease all the way around. And it might be a good idea here to place a stitch marker in the first stitch, because it can kind of be hard to see when you get to the end of the round. So single crochet decrease in with the first 2 stitches. So I did my chain 1. You're going to insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. So you should have 2 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. Let's place a stitch marker in that stitch. We're just going to do that all the way around. So insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, yarn over, pull through 3 loops. So all the way around, we're going to do this. Just about done. And again, I give the stitch counts for each of these rounds at the end of the round in parentheses. So when we finish this, we should have a total of 8 stitches. All right, so I'm to the end, and I'm going to slip stitch in this marked stitch. Okay, and I'm going to fasten off. I left about a 6 to 8 inch tail. Right, so then you will just want to take your yarn needle and thread your yarn needle with the strand of yarn, and you're just going to weave this closed and then weave the tail into the inside, or weave your loose end into the inside of the stocking. All right, so it should look like this so far, and you should still have, let me zoom out. You should still have your 4 stitch markers in place for the heel. So we are going to work on the heel next. I just wove the hole closed in the bottom of the toe, and we are ready to begin the heel. So we are going to be doing this section right here. And this is really easier than it looks, I think. So what we'll do is, so this is my heel section here, and I've got my 4 stitch markers still in place. Let me spread this out this way. So in round 1, we'll be using a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook for the heel section. And you're just going to attach your yarn somewhere in the middle here, and you will place a half double crochet in each stitch around until you get to this first marked stitch. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a half double crochet 3 stitches together. So you'll do basically with this first marked stitch, the stitch right at the center, and then this stitch here that we've marked. We'll make a half double crochet 3 stitches together, and then we'll just half double crochet around, and then we'll do the same thing over here with this stitch, the stitch in the middle, and then this marked stitch, and then you'll just keep making half double crochet back to the end of the round. So let me zoom in, and I need my yarn and my eye hook. just going to attach my hook in one of these chains here at the base of the heel. Okay, and I am going to use a stitch marker to mark my first stitch. So chain 1, again, this doesn't count as a stitch. So half double crochet in each stitch until you reach the first stitch marker. So I'm going to go right into that same stitch for my first stitch. And again, be sure to see the stitch counts at the end of each round in parentheses. So there's one stitch, so I'm going to make one half double crochet in each chain until I reach my first stitch marker. Where is it? There it is. All right, so I am ready for my first half double crochet 3 together. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into that marked chain, yarn over, and remove that stitch marker. So I should have 3 loops on my hook. Now I'm going to go into this middle stitch that's in between the 2 marked stitches. Yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over, we're going to insert our hook into that marked stitch. Yarn over, pull through your work. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on our hook. So yarn over and pull through all 7 loops. And we are going to place a stitch marker in that stitch. Okay, so it should look like that. So now we are just going to make a half double crochet in each stitch around until we reach the next marked stitch. So I've come to my next marked stitch, so I am going to make a half double crochet 3 stitches together with this stitch here, this stitch right here in the middle, and then this stitch over here. So yarn over, insert your hook into that first marked stitch, yarn over and pull through your work, 3 loops on your hook. I'm going to go right into this middle stitch here. Yarn over, insert your hook into that middle stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into that next marked chain, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. And then we are going to mark that stitch with a stitch marker. All right, so then we are just going to keep placing a half double crochet in each chain until we reach the end here. Okay, and then slip stitch in the top of our first stitch. Let me remove my stitch marker. Okay, so it should look like this at this point. So in round 2, we will begin with the chain 1 again, and then we will just work, or we'll place a half double crochet in each stitch until 1 stitch remains before the stitch marker, and you will make a half double crochet 3 together again with the stitch before the marked stitch, and the stitch after the marked stitch. Then you will just half double crochet in each stitch around, and you'll do the same thing over here. You'll make a half double crochet 3 stitches together with the stitch before the marked stitch, and the stitch after the marked stitch, and then you'll just place 1 half double crochet in each stitch until you reach the end. So chain 1, half double crochet in each stitch until 1 stitch remains before the first marked stitch. Okay, so I'm coming to the first stitch marker. All right. So here's our stitch marker, and here's the 1 stitch before the stitch marker. So we are going to make a half double crochet 3 together with this stitch, and this stitch. And then we are going to place a stitch marker in that stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook into that stitch before the marked stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over. This was a stitch that was marked, so yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into that next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 7 loops. And then we are going to place a stitch marker in the top of that stitch. And then 1 half double crochet in each stitch till we reach this other side. Okay, I'm getting close here to this other stitch marker. Okay, so 1 more here, and then I will do another half double crochet 3 together. So here's my stitch marker. So I've got 1 stitch here, the marked stitch, and then I will use the stitch after the marked stitch, and we will do another half double crochet 3 together. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the marked stitch, yarn over, pull through your work, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through your work. You should have 7 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 7 loops. All right, and then we are going to just place 1 half double crochet in each stitch until you reach the end, and then you will join with a slip stitch to the top of your first stitch. All right. Okay, so it should look like this so far. So for rounds 3, 4, and 5, you are just going to be doing the same thing that you did in round 2. but your stitch, your stitch counts will be a little different. So we're slowly decreasing here until we get to the end. So I will be back at the end of round 5 to show you how to sew it together. So I just finished making the heel section. So what we're going to do is next we're going to close this up. We're just going to weave this together. Just like that. But we are going to turn this inside out to do that, and then while it's inside out, we're also going to weave in our loose end. So let me flip my stocking inside out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to weave this in, then we're just going to sew this part together. So we are just about done with this stocking. All right, I'm just going to weave that in. I'm going to cut this strand of yarn. All right, now I am going to cut another strand of yarn, probably about 12 inches long. That should be plenty. 12 to 18 inches, I would say. Okay, and I'm going to thread my yarn needle, and we're going to sew this together. Okay, so I'm going to turn it like this, just like this, so the edges are all lined up. And I'm just going, let me zoom in. All right, I'm going to insert my needle under this first stitch over here and into the stitch on the other side, just like that. All right, and I'm going to go back into the same stitches again. Okay, now I'm just going to weave this together. So I'm going to go into the next stitch with my needle and then into the next stitch on the other side. I'm just going to bring it over. Okay, and then back into the next stitch on the other side, or on this side, and then into the next stitch on the other side. And back over. I'm just going to do this all the way down. Back over. Oh, I forgot I need to weave in this loose end here too. All right, let me weave in my loose end and then I'll keep going. Okay, I'll trim that. Okay. All right, I'm going to keep sewing my heel together just about to the end. Back over. Okay, I'm going to go in one more stitch here. All right, and then I'm going to go back through the same stitch again, and then I'm going to weave in this loose end. Okay, So, and then I'm going to weave this loose end in too. And then we need to make a hook or a loop to hang so we can hang our stocking. All right, so I've still got the stocking inside out. We're going to just leave it inside out for now, and we're going to add a loop so we can hang it. Okay, so you will need 2 strands of yarn held together for this. So I pulled 1 strand from the inside of my skein and then 1 from the outside. And I am going to use a 9mm hook. If you don't have a 9mm hook, a K 6.5mm or an 8mm will work fine. So we are going to make a chain 28. Then we're just going to fasten off, leaving a 12-inch tail that we can use to sew our loop to the stocking. Okay, so make a chain 28 with your double strand of yarn. Okay, so I'm going to fasten off. I'm going to cut my yarn here. Okay, so it should look like this. So then I'm going to weave the shorter tail here into the chain, but I'm going to leave the long tail on the other end. Okay, I'm going to cut that. All right. So then we're going to come up here to our cuff. And again, this is all inside out. My stocking is inside out. Let me zoom out. Okay, that's better. Okay, so this is the heel side over here. So you are going to want to place the 2 ends of the chain right in here, like this. And then you're going to just sew this with your yarn needle and the 2 long strands of yarn. You're just going to sew this right here at the base of the cuff. Okay, and then you'll turn your stocking right side out. I just sewed the loop to the inside of the cuff, and I went ahead and made 2 pom-poms, and I also added my own little shop tag. So I think this turned out very pretty. And then I went ahead and made another one in cream, and this is Red Heart Super Saver, just like this. I don't remember the name of the color of this because I've had this yarn for a while, and of course the yarn label wasn't on it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the pattern. Thank you so much.